Okay, in this video we're talking about the components of breath, or the parts of breathing. So this is an aspect rarely do people look at, and that is what makes up the breath. Well, we have three portions of the lungs. We have the lower portion, which I like to call abdominal breathing, or is called abdominal breathing, where the belly expands with the breath and contracts. This is enacting the diaphragm in the lower portion of the lungs. This is how babies breathe. Then we have the middle portion of the lungs, which is actually the rib cage that expands and contracts as we breathe. And then we have the clavicular breathing, or the upper lung segment, which as we breathe rises, the shoulders rise, the collarbones rise with the breath. Now, generally speaking, most people breathe in about a half a liter of breath every time they breathe, and really we're only just utilizing about an eighth of our lungs capacity when we breathe. Most of us can breathe in about 2 liters to 2.5 liters if we really take a nice deep breath. And maybe that math sounds off, but we're really utilizing about an eighth of the lung capacity, because we also don't normally exhale completely either. So there's always some little bit of stagnant breath that isn't getting expelled. So breathing also affects our mood. You know, if we're breathing very shallow, we tend to have more anxiety and fear because we're not having enough time for the bloodstream to be saturated with oxygen and released from carbon dioxide. So that nice long deep breath will allow that oxygen exchange to occur, more of it, and then we're also relieving our bodies of the toxic burden overload. So in full yogic breathing, which you're going to learn, you are going to utilize all three segments of the lungs in order to receive the maximum amount of oxygen and also access to life force energy, which is the point of pranayama, or breath work. So also, in some traditions, they say we have a certain amount of breaths that equals our life. So the longer and the fewer breaths that we're taking per minute, the longer our lives. And the more shallow, the quicker our breathing, the shorter we are living. Now, whether or not you buy into that is okay, but there is some truth to it, in that when we're rapidly shallow breathing, we're also releasing more cortisol, stress hormones in the body to try to manage that feeling, and also that conversion of oxygen to carbon dioxide. Our cells just simply cannot detoxify fast enough and adequately if we're breathing shallow. So we feel the effects of that on our body as well. So in the next video, we're going to go over a full yogic breath seated. Then we're going to do a reclined full yogic breathing, which you can actually feel is easier to do. And then we're going to go into an ujjayi breath after that, which is allowing you to really breathe through the esophagus and the channel of the spine, where you can learn to elongate that breath. And then we're going to combine the two. These are the building blocks for all the other practices. So you're basically going to be using full yogic breathing and ujjayi breathing behind all the other breathing practices, if that makes sense. So enjoy learning full yogic breathing, and we'll see you in the next lesson.